Welcome back, students and fans. Ducks football is back, and so is your weekly sports talk show. I'm your host, Ryan Ballis. Unfortunately, my co-host Sam Ferris could not be here with me this week. However, I have Mario Ponce and
Happy to be here.
Wardwell with me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, gentlemen. Welcome to the breakdown. So today we're going to be recapping the first 5 games of the season, giving a preview of the game against Colorado tomorrow, Friday, as well as we're going to be doing our pick'em section at the end. So without further ado, so the Ducks faced off against Auburn. They lost really badly, 27-21, AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas. Kickoff game of the year. Ducks were leading until the last 9 seconds of the game. What are your guys' thoughts?
I mean, as hard as this game is to talk about, the thing that really killed the Ducks, obviously, was the lack of offensive aggression. You know, screen passes, running the ball. Mm-hmm. They were up 21-6 in the third quarter. Just keep your foot on the gas a little bit. Keep attacking. It's not that big of a lead.
We have Justin Herbert, CJ Verdell.
Heisman candidate quarterback potentially if, you know, they let him throw the ball.
If he plays consistently, because this is actually a hot take of like every single game. Consistency. Mm-hmm. He always he never is really consistent, and that's hurting our chances.
Yeah, I think a lot of times with Justin, what we see is multiple really big performances early in the year.
Exactly.
And everyone gets really excited about what he can do. And obviously he's proven how great he can be.
He's got all of the talent, all the physical attributes.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a massive human being. He's like over 6'6". He puts the ball where no one else can get it, you know what I mean? But in games like this, I don't know if we can necessarily blame Justin Herbert. I don't think he's to blame. I definitely think it's a lack of aggressive offensive play calling, and it's almost unresponsive to the defense, right? Auburn has this enormous defensive front with a first-round pick on their defensive line. It's kind of crazy to think that on 4th and 1, we're running a pistol formation, running it straight to the left. Everyone in the world knows where the ball is going.
And especially because our offensive line, which is Mario Cristobal's baby, was pushing Auburn's defensive line around all game.
Yeah,
and
just
fell apart.
Yeah, something also really important to note, I think, was the injuries to our wide receiver core. You know, Juwan Johnson, the huge transfer from Penn State, out with a foot injury. That really hurt us. He's one of the biggest red zone targets the Ducks have ever had. Brendan Schooler's out too. Micah Pittman.
One of the most underrated players on this team, I think.
Brendan Schooler is an insane run blocker. Dude can catch the ball. Speedy route runner. Definitely very underrated, and we kind of saw that bite the Ducks in the ass, really. You know, you have Johnny Johnson III, who has a great performance, comes off a really rough year last year with all of his drops, right? That's the main concern with
the narrative with really the whole Ducks receiving core,
and he comes out and he puts up 7 receptions for 98 yards. You know, he's the real star of that Ducks offense that game. Who else did you guys see that really put on a show?
Well, I think Javon Holland, he did really play very well.
Yeah.
Like, he did 3 punt returns for 131 yards. I think that was really important.
Yeah. Hollywood is he's an insane player on our defense. You know, he gets 3 tackles that game, adds an interception, which was pretty clutch. He's just been really balling out this whole season. And it's something that we really expected last year when he had 5 interceptions. He led the Pac-12 at one point. And now he's really coming into a more dynamic player than we've seen, right? Last year we see Ugo Amadi returning punts, doing great things, and there were some questions about who would do it this next year, right? Javon Holland immediately, first game, steps into that role, puts up 3 for 131, almost torches the entire Auburn punt team for a touchdown. Kind of puts the entire nation on notice of who number 8 on that defense is.
Yeah. I mean, for Javon Holland, for me, he's just been so great on defense all year. He's been one of the Ducks' best weapons. In the Auburn game, the defense just as a whole played really well the whole game, and Javon Holland was obviously a big part of that. But at the end, everything just fell apart. So it's hard for me to talk about this game. You know?
I know it hurt me watching. Man, Bo Nix. Our defense got after him all game. True freshman makes that one clutch throw.
He struggled most of the game, and he got it together at the right time, though.
Yeah,
Kudos
Kayvon
to him.
Thibodeau was chasing that man around. He was making them Tigers run for it. I think it's also really important to note Thomas Graham Jr. adds an interception, 2 tackles. Anytime this man goes for a tackle, he gets the tackle. Like, if this dude was a character in Madden, right, he would have a 99 tackle rating. It's just absolutely insane. After the game, you know, he talked about that little switcheroo with Verone McKinley. Sorry about that. It was a real toss-up between what coverages they were switching between, and he really took ownership, and it showed a lot of great leadership values that Graham Jr. has, right?
Yes.
I really admired that from him, and he's still really been, he's really continued on his great performance from last year, you know. What else did you guys see from the game?
Well, I mean, I guess it's just like, it's what we said at the beginning, but I guess like more consistency from the coach's perspective, because it doesn't make sense that we're leading so much for so long and suddenly like we kind of give up, which is kind of disappointing because it seems as though we just let them take the game, basically. That's what I saw, at least.
For me, my main takeaway from that Auburn game is immediately after I turned that game off in my fit of rage that I was in, I knew pretty much what this team's identity was going to be. You knew immediately they were going to do a lot of short passes and they were going to run the ball a lot. And you know, you got to get prepared because that can be annoying. But when it works properly, they've proven that they can win games.
Very good.
And in the Auburn game, it didn't quite work out, but we got a sense of their identity, I think, from this game.
Definitely one player I picked to stand out last year was C.J. Verdell.
Yep.
He added 14 carries for 176 yards. The dude's a workhorse. Added a tud on the day. You know, last year we saw him start 5 games. He had 1,500 yards or so, and we were really looking for him to make that big impact this year.
Very early first quarter touchdown against Auburn.
And so far he actually got injured last game, which was really unfortunate. So we're going to see Travis Dye come out a little bit more.
Yes.
But keep an eye out for Verdell. That dude is an absolute workhorse. Like you said, redefining our identity. One thing that really concerned me was for years, the Oregon Ducks offense has never gone under center. We've had multiple offensive coordinators. No one has ever gone under center. And I think it's this idea that we need to be fast. We need to hurry up. We invented this. Chip Kelly
the Oregon
invented
speed
this,
thing.
you know, whether it be D'Anthony Thomas, Marcus Mariota, you know, these speed demons on offense. The whole issue with Mariota going into the NFL was the concern if he could play from under center. Right?
It'd just be a pocket pass.
Why is that not with Justin Herbert right now? I understand he stays back in the pocket some more, occasionally uses those really long legs of his to scramble, right? But when it's 4th and 1, why are we not under center?
No, I completely agree. Running the pistol on 4th and 1.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. If you're going to run a boot play action and roll out and throw something, okay. But we're not... I don't understand what it is that for whatever reason, even when we're in victory formation, it's in pistol. It's a loaded full house pistol set, and we're taking a knee 7 yards back from where the ball snapped.
So I'm a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan. Philadelphia Eagles quarterback is Carson Wentz. Justin Herbert reminds me so much of Carson Wentz. And one thing that I love that the Eagles do with Carson is that they pretty much let him move around anywhere he wants back there. And I just feel like Arroyo has Herbert kind of locked in a bubble. I feel like he has no mobility, and I'd love to see Herbert scramble out of the pocket because he's got that size where he can shake defenders off and make things happen.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on to the next game, huge, really important win for the Ducks, 77-6 against Nevada. While we know Nevada's not no Auburn or SEC team or anything, Nevada has a very high regard.
They do,
within the leagues. Jay Norvell. I love him. I love you, Jay. If you watch this or if you don't, I love you. I love your coaching style. I really appreciate what he does for his team and what he's brought to the Nevada program. Penei Sewell's brother, he plays there as well. It's really great to kind of see that different dynamic when we play teams of it not being so I wouldn't necessarily say not aggressive, but you know, it was a good win for us. We hung up 28 points in the second and third quarters back to back.
That was huge.
Also, it was a nice comeback from the Auburn loss. We were able to get back our, not like our big identity, but
our
like at
swagger
least
back.
Exactly, yeah.
It was really a chance to get some frustration out, honestly, and they did that. Putting up 77
And a lot
points.
of players got a lot of playing time we don't usually see. One guy I really want to highlight, Darian Felix. This dude is the speed that Ducks fans are used to seeing, right? He breaks off that super long touchdown. Gave me flashbacks of D'Anthony Thomas, to be honest. You see Tyler Shuck get to play. You know, seeing the future of what Oregon's offense is after Herbert leaves, which I think not a whole lot of people are thinking about yet, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of all in for this year right now. And I think
This is
But
our
I think
time.
the
we
whole
can
Oregon
get there.
fan base is kind of all in on this year.
Yeah.
I don't think we can really shift our focus to next year yet. I'm looking for a national championship.
It's almost natty or bust, it seems like.
Well,
for a lot
I
of seasons.
think it would be more playoffs or bust because that's what I am expecting at least.
Yeah, and I mean, if we win the Pac-12 and we're not top 4, we know that's a bid to the Rose Bowl,
Yes.
which is huge for Ducks fans. We could look forward to playing potentially Ohio State, Wisconsin.
It would very much sting though, being 5 or 6. That
And
would get
And we know that, of course, all plays into a part of it, right? And then just looking more towards the future of this Oregon team, right? We see a couple really big star defenders. DJ Johnson, the Miami transfer. He led the team in tackles that game, 7 tackles. You know, we've kind of been waiting for this DJ Johnson figure to appear. Everyone's been so anticipated for
I was
him.
actually just going to touch on him.
Yeah, I mean, he is someone who can really bolster this Oregon front 7, whether he is a 4-down player, just on pass rush, great run defender. You know, we finally kind of got to see what he can do, right?
Yeah.
well, I think that this was the best game we've seen of Justin Herbert all year. Like he was balling today. Like he threw 5 different touchdowns to 5 different receivers. I think that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially like seeing the games before and after. Like this was really his game to shine.
And we saw kind of what can happen when they let him have more freedom in
Exactly.
that offense,
Yeah.
which I'm looking forward to seeing hopefully throughout the remainder of the season.
He's a real quiet dude,
Yeah.
hometown kid. But I mean, when you let that guy get back there and sling the rock, you really see what he can do and what NFL scouts are so excited
Exactly,
for, right? Which I think was so big for me. In addition, just to shout out one last person for this game, one of our standout players, Mace Funa. He got his first career sack. It was kind of his coming out party for this kid out of modern day high school. Really anticipated recruit coming home up to Oregon. And it was awesome to see him get after the quarterback.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, that's definitely something I think the Ducks really worked on in the recruiting cycle was the defensive front 7.
It's been a struggle for this team, like dating back to the Chip Kelly days, honestly.
I mean, of course, we've had our token ones, DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead. Jalen Jelks, as much as it hurts to say, didn't do anything last year. Right?
Yes.
He had, 3.5 sacks? It was just kind of, he was supposed to be this all-American dude with 10-plus sacks, top 3 pick in the NFL draft, you know, and it didn't happen. And that's what this Ducks team has been lacking is that front 7 pressure. And it's really nice with the new defensive coordinator seeing that translate into real stats. You know? It's no longer the hype around him at Boise State. It's here right now, and we're doing some great things on the front.
All
7.
this potential that's been around this team, like I think that's kind of been the narrative around this team for the past few years.
Potential.
That has to turn into results now.
Yep.
Well, I think
We're starting to see it.
It's nut up or shut up time.
Yes.
Truly. So now, just talking about more of the Montana game, a really strong defensive performance. Again, just really harping on the defense. The defense doesn't allow a touchdown for the 2nd straight game. Something really big. Obviously, we know it's Montana, okay? But
they're
not
doing what they need
allowing
to
a
do.
touchdown. You know, you see Alabama occasionally give up a touchdown or 2 to some weaker opponents, and you know, it was really awesome to see this defense hold really solid against Montana.
Yeah, just doing their job, doing what they do every week. The defense has just played outstanding all year. I think the Montana game is one of the best examples of that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For me, what kind of bothered me in this game is this is actually the first game at Autzen I'd ever been to, so this is kind of an exciting one for me. But just being there, what I noticed mainly is that the offense was just kind of reverting back to the old ways after a few failed drives early. I think that's kind of their comfort level is running screen passes. And, you know,
It's
when
the
they're...
screens, the fake
Honestly, I
screens, the
think
draws.
that we could do better, like throwing the ball deeper down the field.
Yeah.
I think it's very important because, like, very short passes. I mean, fine, we get like 10 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards, but eventually we might need to get like a long pass, and that's where we've struggled.
And I have a nice stat right here. So right now the Ducks are 83rd in the country in plays of 20-plus yards.
Oh my God.
And just 3 years ago, with this same quarterback that we have right now as a freshman, we were 14th. So something's, not quite adding up.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
play calling needs to change because we know we have real evidence that he can move the ball.
We need more of those big shock and awe plays, Justin Herbert, we know he can put the ball where no one else can get it.
Yeah.
We've seen him and Johnny Johnson primarily this season, their connection really solidified, right?
2 touchdowns, 8 receptions for him at Montana. So.
Yeah. In addition to that, I really see a lot more trust in our receivers, especially our tight ends. Last year, Cam McCormick, didn't really see much of him. Jacob Breland, little sparse. Ryan
We got the
Bay,
big
not
play
so
from
much.
him versus Auburn, I believe.
Yeah.
Early on in
Spencer
the game.
Webb. Spencer Webb caught his
Spencer
first
Webb,
touchdown,
yeah.
which was awesome. But Jacob Breland, 2 touchdowns, 5 receptions for 49 yards. Really has a dominant performance from the tight end position, which we haven't really seen a dominant tight end since, I would say, Ed Dixon.
Yes.
Which was, I really like to see that, tight ends are so crucial, whether it's in the running game, blocking, or being able to run
And I
great
guess
routes.
that they fit very well to this style of play that we have seen for this last few years.
Oh, one thing I also want to point out about this game is Troy Dye on the defense. What a leader!
Yeah.
I saw him, just simple things like leading the shout after the third quarter, hyping up his teammates, getting after guys. He just looks like a great leader out there and exactly the kind of guy.
And we know that Troy Dye is one of the better linebackers in the country. Truly.
Oh, absolutely.
One of the better front 7 players that we've had at Oregon as well.
Yeah.
And it was great to see that. And not to mention his little brother that night, 17 carries for 101 yards.
Yes.
He's a slippery little dude.
He had a kind of a rough week last week with a couple fumbles, but he had a very good game against Montana.
Yeah. His performance has been a little bit, I wouldn't say shaky, but inconsistent this year.
He's still getting yards. He's doing his thing.
In addition, Justin Herbert's second straight game with 5 passing touchdowns sets an Oregon record, which was really great to see.
Which is why it's kind of frustrating. Like, he's not getting the keys to the offense. I think that he must get more of personality, because he is a great guy, but when he's a little bit limited, it's kind of frustrating,
Of course, especially being someone of, I don't want to say his stature, but he knows he can play. Yeah. Everyone in the country knows he can play. Hand him the keys to the truck and let him drive it.
See, his kind of the aura around Justin Herbert has been, he has all this hype around him, of course, potentially a top 10, maybe even number 1 overall pick, but his stats just haven't looked great with the exception of a year. And so around the country, that's kind of been the narrative. So it was nice to see him in games like Montana and Nevada really, put up some numbers for the first time in a little bit.
Lastly, just Mikhail Wright, the true freshman out of Lancaster, California, he notches his first career interception. It was a great pick. Really, I think a big narrative through these first couple games is seeing these true freshmen really evolve.
Especially on the defense.
We know they're good players, and seeing these kind of flashes of
that's
brilliance
very
and
nice,
excellence.
and that's good for our future too.
Exactly, because we know when Diamador Lenore leaves, Thomas Graham Jr., Mikhail Wright is one of those dudes who's going to take over that secondary, and so it's really nice to get that reassurance that, we don't have kind of a bust,
And one thing Mario Cristobal has proven that he can do is recruit.
Yep.
That man can recruit.
Yep. 100%. Then, that win at Stanford, they win 21-6 at Stanford.
With no touchdowns for the 3rd straight game. This is very good. Our defense is getting places.
Yeah, we really see, bona fide stars like Lamar Winston Jr., Austin Faliao come out, have a great performance. It was a really meaningful win, I would say.
Especially after, obviously, what happened last year. We can't even really talk about that. But
let's just kind of breeze over that part.
But it was just a really good kind of revenge game for us.
Yeah, and like you said, the defensive performance was just
very
amazing.
Important.
And then we see Jacob Breland again, another 2 touchdowns, 5 receptions, 78 yards. This dude's putting on a clinic at tight end. And then just the defensive front 7 as a whole was just monstrous.
And Kayvon Thibodeau, that was kind of his first game where he was really getting involved in a lot of different plays.
Yeah, seeing how they use Kayvon as, whether it's because he's a true freshman or still learning, or because we have so many other pieces in depth, right? It's always interesting to see kind of where they put him in. It's usually on 3rd down, pass rush, stuff like that. But the front 7 as a whole was just insane. 4 sacks, interceptions, 6 points, which was 2 field goals, not a touchdown. They really put on this meaningful showing and really shut Stanford down, which was so nice to see after letting them come back last year.
It's really kind of weird, though, being an Oregon fan and having the defense be the identity of your team.
It's something not a whole lot of us are used to, but I mean, defense wins championships.
And I'll
There's a
take
reason
it.
it's a
If
set.
we're winning games, we're
Yeah.
winning games, man. I honestly think that if we played Auburn this week, we would beat them.
Oh, no doubt in my mind.
Yes, no doubt in my mind.
100%, yeah.
I think that team was just, a little underprepared. The play calling down the stretch was, we talked about it. but
Yeah.
things fell
Something
apart.
really important I'd like to note too is just our defensive tackles are busting their butt. You
Yeah.
know, Fowlio, Jordan Scott. Jordan Scott is an animal in the front seven. You put him at the nose, at the 1 tech, even at the 3 tech sometimes, though he rarely plays it, but mostly the 1 in the nose. He really blows up offensive lines. We saw that last year reaffirmed during the Washington game, when he gets quadruple teamed and holds the line, on 4th and 1. But shout out all our defensive linemen. I know they don't get enough love, so.
Line play on both sides of the ball has been great all year.
Yeah. And then moving on to last week, our
Well-
win 17-7 against Cal.
I think what's something that maybe not a lot of people saw, but very important about this game, is that we have to tone it down with the penalties. We had so many penalties last game. That was really something that was not only annoying, but it hurt our chances of victory too.
Yeah.
I was kind of concerned when I saw all these flags coming out. It was kind of
Yeah. We were
know.
scoreless for a long period of that game.
Oh, yeah.
The first 3
course.
drives ended in 3 turnovers.
Well, the first drive was looking so great at first, and I think that probably would have ended up in a score, but Herbert had a little bit of a bad read. He threw the pick at the end of that drive.
Yeah,
Knocked
and
on the
I mean,
doorstep.
great play by the Cal defender, but
Yeah.
just kind of a not so great read. And then those 2 fumbles by Travis Dye really set us back.
And one thing I loved about that, going back to Troy Dye, he was on Travis, yelling at him on the sideline. I like that. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like that kind of leadership style, but personally, I like it.
Especially because they're brothers.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're close.
Yeah.
Pick your brother up. Encourage him. I'm
But
sure
hold
not
him
all that-
accountable, too.
I'm sure all that yelling was not you suck. Seriously, you fumbled twice, but more of a hey, let's go, kick it back into gear. This game isn't over. We're not losing to Cal, right? But really, the defensive side of the ball was just absolutely insane again. Giamador Lenoir, Mr. Bump and Run, doesn't allow a catch during that game. He's really been pretty quiet this year, but he's been very shut down. The number change from 15 to 6 might have done him some good. He's really balling out this year. It's really nice to see our secondary not being our weakness.
Yeah, the defense in
Well,
general, really.
I think right now our defense is our main part of the game.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it's
I
definitely our
agree.
biggest strength right now.
Yes.
Yeah, when we win games, we're definitely going to be winning them on the defensive side of the ball, I think. The offense has proven that they're very capable of putting up points, but we just got stuff that we need to fix.
Yeah, definitely Isaac Slade, Matuatia, 7 total tackles.
Oh, yeah.
He gets a sack.
Amazing game.
Yeah, he was just everywhere that game. He's in on the interception, helping return him when Troy Dye picks it off the tip. He was just everywhere that game. It was really nice to see having another inside linebacker, in addition to Troy Dye, being so impactful. We got Jamon Eason during the recruiting cycle. He hasn't played so far this season, but got to see him in the spring game. He's amazing as well. It's really awesome to see this front 7, not only seeing the right now, what's happening right now with it, but being able to still, envision that future of, okay, we're gonna be all right. Because what happens a lot with so many good programs is they'll have a great year and then 20 seniors leave. And that definitely
No,
helps
but
the
I
program.
think that we are stacked for the future.
Yeah.
At least we have some very good pieces for the next few years.
We got those pieces in place. We're kind of moving them around, seeing what works, what doesn't. It is really exciting. Yeah.
The thing that just really got to me in this game, I kind of reached my boiling point with the offensive play calling. It just got kind of ridiculous and redundant after a while, to the point where me, someone with a pretty
Definitely.
average football IQ, with the technicalities of the game, and I could predict what play they were going to run.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's
It
too
was
scripted.
frustrating.
Too predictable, too mechanical.
And we
I just
knew
wanna open
Cal
it up.
saw it too. But even then, just kind of the switch up of, hey, we're not having our best game, but what can we do to win right now?
Yeah.
You know, they run that little fake screen play and have the whole offense rolling right. Herbert stops, throws back to Red. They used that same play last year to Dylan Mitchell against UCLA. Gets another touchdown this game. It's a really popular play when we're inside the 5.
Momentum
really
plays like
it.
that can do so much
Yeah,
for you.
and I mean that really, I think, sealed the game. In addition to that great defensive
Or
performance.
just being more aggressive because we were so like kind of scared because
Yeah.
we were better. Like we were playing a lot better, and you see it a lot in the stats. But we were kind of scared, like at the end of drives or in clutch territory, that we were playing like scared.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I just have a theory that when stuff doesn't go their way, they just revert back. At the beginning of the game, they were throwing the ball down the field, attacking, interception, revert back.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with how those first 3 drives started, right? It's pretty disappointing. 3 turnovers on 3 drives. That's not what we're used to as a team and as an identity, right? We're usually the ones causing the turnover on the first drive.
Exactly.
So that was just something really interesting to see. And then Kayvon Thibodeau really having his coming out party too. 2 sacks, a forced fumble. One of those was being a strip sack, which was huge turning point in the game. He's still playing as a true freshman, so we know he's not going to retain that eligibility if he redshirts, right?
Yeah.
He's appeared in more than 4 games, so they plan to play him out the rest of the season.
I like that move.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see the development he keeps making week in and week out. We know he's a hard worker, the former #1 recruit, right? Just keep looking for him to make plays.
Yeah.
When it's time to make plays, right?
An athlete will be
exactly.
an athlete. He will get involved. You just got to let him be out there.
Yeah. Really excited about this Colorado game, though.
I am too. It's going to be a nice build up to the at Washington game, which is also
Exactly.
huge. And
Yeah. By the way, DuckTV Sports will be covering the game at Washington, so make sure you tune in for that. We got some great reporters on that, so keep an eye out for all that stuff. But this game against Colorado, which is at home, it's going to be a 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time kickoff. 13th ranked Ducks. We're going to look to kind of bump into that top 10 following a bunch of top 10 matchups, right? We got Oklahoma and Texas. We got USC Notre Dame, which is always a great game. And we got Florida LSU,
Yes.
right? So there's this opportunity for some shifts to happen. within
there
the
will
top
be
10.
some shifts. There will be some shifts, and Oregon definitely has to take advantage of that.
Yeah, we
And
have
just
to show-
a big win over Colorado this weekend would
Yeah.
be ginormous.
Yeah.
We would show that we have very much championship potential
Yeah.
if we win.
Yeah, Colorado has some great receivers. Montez, their quarterback, he's very good as well. Definitely not a team to overlook, but definitely a game where, I don't know if we'll hang up 77 on them, but I definitely could see most of the student section leaving after a shout in the third quarter,
Yeah.
But, there's some really important players to watch this game,
Yeah.
right? This is kind of a first time that a lot of these players that we've really anticipated are going to get more playing time, right? Juwan Johnson finally coming
Hopefully,
back from
yes.
injury last game. Didn't play a whole lot. Didn't even get a reception. He's going to look to make that big impact that Oregon fans have wanted to see from him, right?
That was
Now-
probably, I would say, the most hyped up transfer we got this year. Was Juwan
Oh, of
Johnson.
course. And talking about transfers, DJ Johnson, the transfer from
Yes.
Miami, Gus Cumberlander, we wish you the most speedy recovery. May you get back to full health. That was a very, very bad injury. We've watched Gus Cumberlander come up through the ranks, climb the depth chart, work his butt off to be an excellent pass rusher. We kind of see him.
One of those guys that you just like to see succeed.
Yeah, we see him emerge.
Hopefully, yes.
Yeah, we see him emerge really during the Oregon State game last year where he has that fumble recovery where they mobbed the quarterback in that game. Just a whole group of yellow jerseys just all over it, and he's in there, right? Mm-hmm. So now, we need to see DJ Johnson take that role, right? Take that next step as a player, as a person, right? And become the guy.
Yeah.
He's got to become the dude that Ducks fans have looked for. He's got to become the dude for the front seven. He's got to do this for the defense, right?
Well, he has all the potential to do it.
Yeah, he's another one of those guys with all the size, all the physicality. He's got all the tools.
Yeah. In addition to dudes that are just big and have all the tools, Kayvon Thibodeau again, look for him to build off kind of that momentum, right? He wasn't just the number 1 overall recruit for some reason, right? This dude had offers from Bama, Florida State, you name it, he had an offer, right? So it's really important to keep an eye on him. He got Pac-12 Defensive Lineman of the Week honors, which was really awesome for him. A great honor as a true freshman, right? So just keep an eye on him for third down.
Exactly, yeah.
I want to see if he gets played a little bit more this game, right?
Yeah, I could definitely see him getting some more snaps against a team like Colorado. I'm not going to give away my pick yet. I'll save that for our predictions. But I do think it will be a somewhat close game. But I think Oregon will have enough cushion where Kayvon will probably see some time.
Yeah.
100%. And then
they're not redshirting him for nothing.
yeah, of course. Everything happens for a reason,
yeah.
right? And then I'm really looking forward to seeing Travis Dye bounce back, right?
Yeah.
We know CJ Verdell's injured, not going to play this week most likely. And so Travis Dye after those 2 fumbles, right?
Well,
how does he respond?
I think that
come
he
back?
will play well. He has to, because he has to show everyone that was just a simple mistake. But I think that it was truly just a simple mistake, and I think that this will be his game to really show his potential.
Yeah, 100%.
I think this is going to be definitely another ground and pound game for the Ducks. He will probably see, I think, 15 plus carries, and I think if he goes about his business and he does his job, he can probably put up a couple touchdowns if he follows his blocks and just does what he's been doing.
Yeah.
Ball security is the big thing for him. We'll watch out for that this week. If he can't hold on to the football for another week, we might have to think about a different feature back during Verdell's absence.
I think definitely look out for Cyrus Habibi Lakio.
Yeah.
He has that great tackle during the Cal game,
the
right?
best tackle of the game.
And so seeing him, he gets put in on the goal line, right? They've kind of dabbled with him in the backfield when they're driving and stuff, but we really don't see him get a whole lot of action until we're inside the 10, inside the 5, right? So look for him to maybe get some more carries this game, right? Maybe see him get 6+ carries would be really nice. Give fans something to look forward to for the next game, right? He has a huge personality, so just being able to see that performance, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Ducks fans are all about results.
A couple of guys to look out for on the Colorado side, guys that the Ducks are going to have to lock down in order to win this game. Linebacker Nate Landman for Colorado. He's already got over 40 tackles this year. He's a do-it-all kind of guy. He's involved with every play. He reminds me of Luke Kuechly. Watching him. He's a very similar guy. And then also, obviously, LaVisca for Colorado, one of the best receivers in the country right now.
Great story behind him,
yes,
too.
highly touted NFL prospect. I'm assuming it's going to be, why am I spacing on his name? Javon Holland. I'm assuming it's going to be Javon Holland guarding him, so that'll be a good matchup.
With a lot of college games, you don't necessarily see the number one corner follow all the time, but I definitely see, he's a bigger receiver, right? And Javon Holland's a bigger body safety, right?
Yeah,
Javon can lay the wood. He can play in coverage, run support, whatever it is. I'm really interested to see, for one, which corners we have matched up on him, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's going to be Mr. Bump and Run, Diamador Lenore himself, right? Or if we're going to see Thomas Graham Jr. lock him down.
And what happens when they put him in the slot? That poses other questions.
And then we're going to see whether it's Verone McKinley or Javon Holland, depending on which side it is, right? Because that defense rotates quite a bit and have a lot of mixed coverages. But yeah, really excited to see what unfolds tomorrow night.
Yeah, same. It's going to be a good game.
Yeah. So right now we're going to move on to our pick'em section, where we're going to talk about which teams you guys like, which ones you don't, in the upcoming slate for this weekend. So first, we got number 11 Texas and number 6 Oklahoma. Scott, who do you have?
Boomer Sooner, baby. I like Jalen Hurts. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the country. Lincoln Riley has one of the best offensive systems in the country. We've seen him with back-to-back Heisman quarterbacks. He has the potential, definitely the potential to do it for a third straight year with Jalen Hurts. He's having a great year. I haven't really bought into the Texas kite quite yet. I don't know why. There's just something about them that's not there. Maybe it's the young QB.
I think after the LSU game, a lot of it dropped off. Sam Ehlinger is a great quarterback,
yes,
right?
But he is young and just doesn't have a lot of experience yet.
I think definitely.
But don't count him out
just
yet.
I don't think I agree
actually.
with a lot of experience. I mean, you see him ball out against Georgia last year in what was it, the Sugar Bowl, right?
True.
Puts up a great performance, wins them that game. He's a star, right?
He's proven that he can play.
So I don't know about the whole experience thing, but I definitely think Oklahoma walks out of this one with a win. I really do like Jalen Hurts a lot. Great story behind him. I really like CeeDee Lamb a lot. I think he's going to have a great game. He's had great games in the past against Texas. I just don't think, well, for one, neither of them have very good defenses, right?
Yes.
The Red River rivalry always ends in a shootout.
Any Big 12 game always ends in a shootout.
But, I got Oklahoma walking away with this one. I think by at least 2 scores.
No, I think it's going to be very close, and I even think the Longhorns can win.
Okay.
Yeah, but maybe like if the kicking game is really good, because it's going to come down to a lot to kicking.
Yeah.
Because
maybe the last person that has the ball. You know?
Yes, but I think that the Longhorns will win by at least 1 field goal.
Yeah. Okay. Next, moving on, we got USC, Notre Dame. I'm going all in on back the pack. I think the Trojans go into Notre Dame and walk out with a W, a huge shakeup in the top 10. Not only does it make our chances really good when we beat USC, who beat number 9 Notre Dame at the time, right? But I think the Trojans can pull it off. It's always a great rivalry between those 2 schools. 2 college football blue bloods. I got the Trojans walking away with this one.
I actually agree with you on this one. I don't know what it is. It just has all the feelings for me of a USC upset.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Rarely ever does USC have a down year, right? Which right now, wouldn't necessarily call it a down year, but
They're a
injury,
young team.
yeah, that injury
Yeah.
to JT Daniels really shocked a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right? You know, he's the heir to Sam Darnold's USC franchise after him, right? Tears his AC on the first game. You know, hope you're having a speedy recovery, JT. But yeah, going with USC on this one. Next, we got number 7 Florida at number 5 LSU. This is going to be a really big matchup. My biggest fear is that whichever team wins, they're just going to flip-flop spots.
Yeah, and I was thinking that as well. I don't know. I think if Florida loses, they might get knocked out of the top 10, depending on how bad.
Yeah,
the
it
loss
really
is.
does depend.
Yeah,
I think if
exactly.
it's more than 14,
But it could open up a
17 points.
spot for us, actually.
Yeah, and that's what I'm really hoping for. I actually got the Tigers in this one. Joe Burrows. Trust Joe Burrows. He's moved up a lot in the Heisman rankings, which is really nice to see. Last year there's a lot of doubt around him, especially in the game they played against UCF in the bowl game. Gets injured and stuff like that. It's really nice to see him come back and have this explosive performance. But we're not seeing that defensive production we're used to from LSU. So I could definitely see this becoming a shootout, which I hope it does. I hope LSU puts on a strong performance, right? I think this could be a coming out party for that defense. A great showing for the Tigers.
To me, this is kind of a comparable matchup to the first week of the season when Florida played Miami. If you remember,
Okay.
that was a neutral site game. And I, too, expected a shootout in that one. I thought, both schools don't have the best defense. And historically they do. This year it's not as great. I thought it might be a shootout. Ended up not being a shootout. I think the same thing's going to happen in this game. I think both teams score under 20, but LSU comes out with the dub.
Okay.
Well, I think that LSU will win, but I want Florida to win because I come from there, so Florida represent.
Nice. So moving on, Washington State at number 18 ASU. I love Herm Edwards.
Trust Herm,
Yeah,
always.
I love the program that he's really building. Wazoo, though, they've had a lot of mixed performances this season, right? Overall, though, I think the Sun Devils come out on top, especially at home.
Yeah, but like by a close margin,
Yeah.
I think.
I agree. Sun Devils at home, I think they take this game. But I really think what it's going to come down to, especially late game, is coaching. We have 2 of the best coaches in the Pac-12 right here with Herm Edwards
and Mike Leach.
and Mike Leach. So this is going to be a very big game. What these coaches decide to do and the plays they call down the stretch are going to be a huge factor in this one.
Yeah. Mario, who do you got winning?
ASU,
Yeah?
definitely.
Yeah, all
But
in on
it's
the
going to
Sun
be a
Devils,
very
huh?
close game, but I think that ASU is just going to come out on top at the end.
They got that true freshman quarterback back there. He's gotten some experience under his belt this season, gotten his cage rattled.
making some
They've
plays.
come out with some big wins, right? Against Michigan State especially, which has helped really propel them into the top 25. But, especially for the Ducks' chances to get into the top 10, make the playoff, get the Rose Bowl, right? We need ASU to win, maintain that ranking, and then we need to go down to Tempe and beat them, which DuckTV Sports will also be covering as well. So make sure you guys keep an eye out for that on our social media platforms as well. Now, moving on to Washington versus Arizona. For you guys that don't know, I'm from Tucson, so I'm all in on the Cats this game. I think Stanley Berryhill, Agent 86, is going to have a great game. Look out for the other hometown kid, Jamari Joyner, catching balls from Khalil Tate. Arizona's running game has been stellar this season. Look for them to build on that. Their defensive production hasn't quite been there, right? They're not getting the sacks that we're used to seeing from like the Desert Swarm age of U of A football, right? But expect them I think they're going to have a great performance against Jacob Eason and the Washington offense.
No, I completely agree. And I'm also going to take Arizona in this one. My main reason behind that is just because I think Khalil Tate is a monster. He's had kind of a quiet year compared to what we've expected him to have so
we
far.
haven't really been able to see him. We see him be able to run wild every once in a while, right? He had an 80-plus yard touchdown. What was it, 2 weeks ago? That's OG Khalil Tate, right? And he's been battling some ankle injuries and stuff over the last season. But yeah, I agree with you. I think he has a great performance.
And I think Arizona really just runs the ball down Washington's throat all game. Again, I think this might be another low scorer. I don't know what it is this week. Just a lot of these games I see being kind of grit and grind matchups.
Yeah, especially within the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Well, I also pick Arizona, but I think not that it's going to be close. I actually think that Arizona might have like at least a 2-touchdown lead.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. That receiving core is insane. Stanley Berryhill, Jamari Joyner, BJ Castile. They have these very underrated weapons.
Yes.
We talk about the Pac-12. We think of the speed. You think of Johnny Johnson III, Juwan Johnson, how big he is. And I think as Ducks fans, we fail to realize
there's more to it.
Some of the great talent that the Pac-12 really does.
Especially in the South. I think we kind of neglect that.
Yeah, for sure. But keep an eye out for Agent 86. I think he's gonna have a huge game. And then Colorado, Oregon,
the big one. I'll come right out and say it. I've got Oregon 28-13.
Okay.
I think again, kind of a low score, kind of a chippy one. I don't really see a lot of upset potential. I did last week against Cal. I don't think Colorado comes in here and beats us. So or 28-13 Ducks.
They did have that big upset on Nebraska though. So that's something to keep your eye out for. Is that Colorado? They're not this team that you can just bowl over and neglect.
And their new coach I really like their new coach. I respect him a lot. I actually listened to an interview of his just the other day, and he knows what's up.
Well, I actually got Oregon, but I think it depends on how they play. If they get confident and they ball and they really believe in themselves, they could easily win by at least 3-4 touchdowns.
Confidence is so key for
But
this
if
one.
they play like last week, then they're going to struggle. But I still think that they're going to come out on top, even if it's very close in the end.
Yeah.
Ducks are favored by 20.5 from the line that I just looked at this morning. But I do think the Ducks win big. I think they win by 28 plus.
Really?
I think it's a blowout. I think a lot of our second and third stringers get some crucial playing time heading into this latter half of the season, right? That's what we see is we need this depth, we need this experience, and I think it's going to be an absolute slaughter.
Okay.
Yeah. Take the Buffs to the slaughter, right?
I can see that happening for sure. I don't know. Colorado just has some weapons on both offense and defense. I could see guarding. They have a pretty deep receiving core. I can see that becoming an issue. I think Colorado.
I think it'll be a great matchup to kind of see our depth in the secondary versus their depth in the receiving core.
The atmosphere should be electric too. Friday night game at Onsen. Everybody, all the students are here now. It'll be a great game.
Yeah.
Great atmosphere.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. Make sure you follow our social media. Make sure to stay up to date with all things Duck Sports. From Eugene, thanks for watching. We'll see you back here next week on The Breakdown.